Assalamu alaikum Ramadan radio listeners. You're tuned in to myself, Zebunisa, and I'm here with a guest speaker who I'll talk about shortly. You're tuned into my show called The Joys and Struggles of Motherhood on Ramadan Radio 87.7 FM. If you want to message, you can WhatsApp us on 077 488 55055, or you can message on Facebook and Instagram as well. Today we have with us Rabia. Assalamu alaikum, Rabia.
Walaikum assalam, Zebi.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for having me on here. I was very excited.
Alhamdulillah. I thought, who else could I start the show with other than Rabia for my first time show?
Oh, that's really sweet. That's really sweet.
And the reason I called you on today was I wanted first time mothers to have a voice. And you're obviously a first time mother like myself.
Yeah, mashallah. My little one is 9 weeks old. So all the experiences of a first time mother are like fresh in my head. So inshallah, I think we're going to have a lot to talk about.
So your little one, what's his name?
It's Yunus.
Yunus,
Yeah.
Yeah. So my little one is about turning 9 months now. So we've got we've got a comparison. So you got 3 months of with Rabia and 9 months from me. So I'll just introduce myself, and then Rabia, you can introduce yourself as well. So my name is Zebunisa. I've born and bred in Leicester, even married here, and my baby and myself were both born at Leicester General Hospital. So true Leicesterian. And his name is Umar, and he's 9 months old. And at the moment, we're going through the teething stage. So that's one of the challenges that we're going through at the moment. What about you, Rabia, if you want to introduce yourself?
So I'm Rabia. I was actually born in Abu Dhabi. So my parents have traveled a lot. So we lived in Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and then we moved to Saudi Arabia. And then from Saudi Arabia, we moved to UK, specifically Bradford. So I've lived in Bradford for about 15 years. And then I got married and moved to London. So I had my little one in London. And he's 9 weeks today, mashallah. So yeah, we just finished the newborn stage. He's just kind of getting better at sleeping as well. So he sleeps like for an hour and a half, which has been magical compared to what it was like 2 weeks ago. But I'm exclusively breastfeeding at the moment, and literally as we speak, I can hear him crying in the next room, and all the time I'm thinking, is he hungry? Is he hungry? Does he need me? But at the moment, I have my mom, my dad, and my mother-in-law, and my husband at home. So
that's so good. I think it's important to have that support, isn't it?
People to look after him, yeah, because this was the first weekend that we traveled back to Bradford after having him. And the travel from London to Bradford is around 4.5 hours. So mashallah, he was really good on the drive. And then the reason I traveled was because I had one of my best friend's wedding. And it was, again, the first time I was going to leave him alone. So I had like bottles prepared, and never did I realize how much work that is. I have so much respect for moms who bottle feed their babies, because I was just like, there's the washing, there's the sterilizing, there's the drying, and then the process just starts again every day. I was just like, oh my goodness, this is a lot of work. But alhamdulillah, it was a really good experience. It was really nice going out. And I was just saying to my husband, like, it felt like I was back at uni, you know, when you're just with your friends and you relax and you're just hanging out with them and just taking part in such a amazing day, like seeing one of your best friends get married. That was really, really lovely.
It was probably a nice break for you as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was so nervous. I did FaceTime him when I was at the wedding, and my friends were like, Rabia, just enjoy the moment. I was like, I know, I'm trying to. But it was really, really lovely. But it's given me the confidence that, okay, yes, I can leave him home and I can go out for a few hours outside, and it's like not the end of the world.
So these are just some of the challenges we face as a mum, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think I definitely had like separation anxiety at the start. Like I could not be okay with him not being around me for more than 10 minutes. So I had to like always be around him, like even in the house, like in the same room. If I didn't see him, then I'd be like, is he okay? Like, why is he crying? Like, can anyone else like feed him? Because sometimes I feel like it's just me, but now I've realized that no, actually, people can like feed him, and he's okay. He's okay with everyone else as well. It's not just me.
So how do you feel, Rabia, about being a first-time mom?
Alhamdulillah, Shakira, it's been amazing. Like, it's been such a beautiful journey. I was a bit scared going into it just because a lot of my friends have had babies and they've all had like mixed postpartum experiences. So my pregnancy was really good. It was quite straightforward. And then postpartum has been really good as well. But I think that's mainly because I had quite a lot of help. I know for sure, like if I didn't have the help, the house would be a mess. I would be a mess. It would have a huge toll on me. So I feel really lucky to have the help. But even with the help, it is quite tough. And I found it more tough emotionally because of the sleepless nights. And then Eunice had like really bad rashes, like when he was just 2 weeks old. And then he had reflux. So, and then he also had a temperature. So I had to literally stay in the hospital overnight. And because of COVID, I can only stay, like only one person was allowed to stay with him. So obviously I was staying with him and it was quite challenging. But alhamdulillah, we got through it. He's more stable now. He's on medication. So that's, even that, just giving him the medication just breaks my heart because he hates it. But then you just know that in the end, like, it'll get better. Because they said that they usually grow out of it around 5 months.
And I know for you that it's only been 3 months, but do you feel like your life has changed quite a lot since having a baby?
Yeah, for sure. But it's definitely a change that I love, and I would not change anything because you feel like every day you learn something new in motherhood. Like literally you would think one day, okay, I figured out this. Like I figured out he cries, this is why he cries. And then the next day there's a new challenge. He's waking up every hour in the night. Then you have to figure out why that's happening. Then you overcome that. And then the next day, maybe he's a bit colicky. So it's like every day is different. But it's just worth it because you see everyone's reaction. You see how much they love your baby. Yeah, that just makes everything worth it for me. And so yeah, alhamdulillah, like it's the best thing. It's the best thing that's happened to me.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Like for myself, I think I struggled once I had the baby. I had mental health problems. Straight after having the baby, which I'll talk about more in detail next week, but I suffered with something called postpartum psychosis. Have you heard of that before?
I did very, very briefly because one of my friends went through it, but not to like the extent that you did. So she only had a brief episode of it where she would think that the baby has like, she had a baby girl, so she had her in floral onesies, but one day she was like, oh my God, the onesies kind of look like blood. So she had a few hallucinations, but they kind of went away. So she didn't really have it really severe, but that's the first time I actually knew that was a thing. I knew that postpartum depression was a thing and postpartum anxiety was a thing, but not postpartum like psychosis, which is crazy because so many women go through it after I spoke to you about it, and then I kind of researched it, and I feel like it's not really spoken about as much. Even at like the maternity units and the appointments that you go to, like it's not really spoken about that much. So I think there definitely needs to be more light on the situation.
Definitely, I think there needs to be more awareness generally as a whole about mental health and motherhood. Because even when I was quite ill, I was quite surprised that there wasn't that much information out there. And but I have to say the services are great, and when you do need them, they do step up and they do come out to help you.
Oh, that's really amazing. That makes all the difference. Like even after birth, when the health visitors used to come home and we didn't have to go to the hospital, I felt like that was such a good thing. Because I know not in all countries that have this. Like, for example, USA, you still have to go into the hospital to have all these like checks done. And I can't, like, for me personally, I could not imagine getting dressed and taking him outside at like 1 week old. Just having people come over to check up on you was really helpful. That was really, really good.
So how did so from finding out that you were having a baby to having a baby, how did that whole process go for you?
So finding out was just the best surprise. I actually found out last Ramadan. So me and my husband were just saying, isn't it crazy? Like last Ramadan, I was pregnant. This Ramadan, we have him. So yeah, because we were planning. So we were, and we were like trying. So we were really excited for it, and everyone was really excited. So this was actually my second pregnancy because I had a miscarriage previously. So because of that, I had a lot of anxiety in the first, I would say 5 months. Like I did not go out that much. Plus COVID. So I had like a lot of anxiety. I didn't even tell my friends I was pregnant till I had my, I think, 24-week scan, because that 24 weeks is like the viability week where, you know, like if something was to go wrong, you know, if you were going to go into preterm labor, there was a chance of survival. So I was literally thinking about that from day one of my pregnancy. I was like, I just want to reach 24 weeks, just reach 24 weeks. And then once I reached 24 weeks, then I actually like started enjoying my pregnancy. And then that's when I started buying things and telling people. That from then on, it was really good. But I found the first 5 months really difficult because it just took me back to my miscarriage. And after having him, the delivery, all of that, alhamdulillah, was a really positive experience for myself. And I know, like, not everyone goes through that because there's a lot of my friends have had mixed experiences. When some people had really positive ones, some really challenging ones. So I felt like, alhamdulillah, quite blessed to have a positive postpartum and pregnancy and delivery. But then you have other challenges because with his reflux and stuff, I feel like that's a challenge that we're kind of going through because he doesn't sleep flat, so he always has to be in someone's arms, and especially at night time that can get really tiring. But alhamdulillah, with the whole journey, it was really, really positive. I really enjoyed it, and inshallah, I wish that any future ones are kind of similar. How about your experience in pregnancy and delivery and postpartum?
Alhamdulillah, with pregnancy, I found pregnancy and delivery quite easy. I was quite surprised. I think it was because I prepared quite a lot. So I feel like the key thing for anybody out there who is preparing for motherhood would be mentally prepare yourself, because when you become a mother, it's a very different experience. It's not something you can be prepared for, and there'll be lots of challenges that come your way. So when it came to pregnancy, I was okay. When it came to giving birth, I was okay as well. It was relatively short labor. When it came to the delivery of baby and coming home, when it came to coming home, actually, I was okay maybe for the first week. Then after that, I kind of became severely ill. It was more due to sleep deprivation. And like everyone tells you, when you get married, everyone tells you that, oh, marriage is about compromise. and you're sort of for the first year trying to figure out what do they mean. Everyone just keeps on telling me marriage is about compromise, and then when you have a baby, everyone sort of tells you sleep when the baby sleeps, and you're thinking, what do they mean, sleep when the baby sleeps? Did you get that sort of advice as well, Rabia?
Yeah, 100%. I still do. And I'm just like, I can't sleep when the baby sleeps, so the baby's sleeping on me. But I definitely get it. I get I completely agree with the mental preparation that you need to do. The way that I did that was just taking some classes, so birthing classes and feeding classes and just bathing a newborn. And my husband and I actually took a few classes together, which is really nice to bond and educate ourselves. So that was really, really good.
What I found with those classes, though, they were focusing more on like pregnancy and labor. They didn't really focus on the after, meaning being at home the first 10 days or the first 40 days.
Yeah. The specific ones that I chose were like the after ones. I didn't really go with the hospital ones that they gave. I actually went with the baby academy ones because it just randomly popped on my Instagram one day, and I was like, okay, let's have a go. So they had my mom just came and I was thinking if she's okay. So I chose the baby academy ones, and honestly, they were really, really good. I didn't expect them to be. I had really low expectations. I didn't expect them to be very informative. I thought they were very generic. But alhamdulillah, they were quite good. And it gave me a lot of comfort knowing that other people had the same questions as I did. Like I wasn't the only one who was like clueless as what temperature they're about to be, or you can't use anything on a baby's skin for the first 6 weeks, and all of these different things that we need to go by, which were just guidelines. Obviously, you can tailor them to yourself. And to be honest, I used a little bit of it, but not that much. I think it was just a mental thing for me. If I took classes, I felt more confident. So that kind of helped me be a bit prepared for what was to come. But of course, they can't teach you everything. The thing now is like something new. I'm constantly on Google, just Googling everything. Is this normal, or why does, what does this mean, and so on and so forth. So yeah, one thing I obviously didn't get to experience because of COVID was like the partner physical classes that you would go to, that you see in movies and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's the only thing we didn't do.
That's something we sort of missed as well. We definitely would have wanted to have that partner interaction.
Yeah, with other parents or parents to be, that would have been really, really good. So that's the only thing that we missed out on. But other than that, I personally found the classes, but I think it was just more for me rather than like the knowledge. Yeah, they were quite good. Yeah. What else did you do to prepare for baby?
With us, we sort of were making lists of things we needed. We were taking part in these classes, and I think we overdid it with the classes. So for me, our classes were more focused on pregnancy and labor. So I think I mentally prepared myself for pregnancy, for labor. But when it came to having like the after being at home, I think that was one thing that I maybe didn't prepare for too much. But obviously, I don't think as a mum you can prepare yourself too much. There's always going to be, like you said, a challenge that will come your way, and it's just with how you deal with it, right?
Yeah, 100%. There's nothing that can prepare you for this. I think the best tool you can have is your friends and family around you, because especially if they've had a little one, sometimes that could be good, sometimes that could not be good, because you're kind of prone to lots of advice. But I think just having people around is good, even if they can hold the baby for like 10 minutes and you can just go have a shower or eat I think after that in that sense is really, really important. But yeah, like for example, I had no preparation for like how to deal with a colicky baby, and then Eunice has a little bit of colic. So that was a huge learning experience for both myself and my husband. So now we kind of know the telltale signs of it. Because at first we were just like, what's going on? Or like, how do we soothe him? Why does he only get bad at nighttime? And then you just kind of slowly just learn. And you also learn that everything's very temporary and everything's got like a time span that you have to just kind of, bear with it. And then things just get better at like 6 weeks, 12 weeks, like 6 months, etc. So that's something that's helpful to me because I'm like, okay, when he completes like 12 weeks, inshallah, like he'll be a bit more stable.
I bet you don't, like me, I bet you don't want him to go, right?
Yeah, oh my goodness. I thought this was just me till I spoke to some of my friends. I think he was one time, he just turned 1 month and he was sleeping. And I was looking at my phone at his newborn pictures and crying, like just full on crying. My husband was worried. He was like, why are you crying? And I was like, nothing. I'm just so sad that he's growing so fast. But you're also so grateful, but you're also sad. It's such a weird feeling. I never thought I would be this emotional because before when you like with other kids, you're so like so you're like, oh, baby's cute, you stay with them, and that's it. But when it's your own, it's like, first of all, you take 1,000,001 pictures, and then you just want to capture every single moment. And yeah, and when you see those changes, you're just like, oh, he's not a newborn anymore. Like, I'm never going to have that again with him. But I think that's one of the things that one of the feelings that I hold on to because it makes me cherish every moment with him. Even when he's like really clinging, all he wants to do is just be with me. I never like think, oh gosh, can someone else hold him? It's always like, oh, he needs me because he just knows me well. He's just entered this world, and as soon as babies enter this world, like they're getting poked and prodded, and like everything's happening to them, and you're their safe space. So I just keep reminding myself of that, and it just makes the hard moments really special as well.
I think it's just reminding yourself they're not going to be young for a long time.
Yeah,
and just having that patience, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because I know some of my friends say that they regret like not cherishing those moments to the maximum, really, because they were just stressed or they had postpartum anxiety or postpartum depression, and they felt like they lost that time with their baby. So yeah, it makes me, and the same went with my pregnancy as well. Like, even though I had up and down days, and in my pregnancy, I think the emotional aspect was more challenging because I was just very, very sensitive throughout my pregnancy. But even through that, like, I took loads of pictures and just tried to enjoy it as much as possible, even with all the anxiety I had about what if, what if this happens, what if that happens. During pregnancy, you have such little control, and you just have to leave it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take care of your baby and to give your body the strength to grow this baby and birth him.
Alhamdulillah.
So, yeah, alhamdulillah. And saying that, like, even the postpartum, like, I'm just blown away by how amazing, like, women are in general. Like, to give birth and then to, like, look after a baby and to heal and to learn all of this and then to manage a house, doing it all at once. It's like, I just have so much more and new respect for mothers.
Definitely. I don't think before, when I wasn't a mother, I didn't realize how much mothers go through, how much they do.
Yeah, 100%. It's not even what we see. It's like what we don't even see, like the sleepless nights, the anxiety, the emotional aspect of it, and then on top of that, you've got just kind of going along with your life with this new responsibility, with healing, because postpartum full healing process is like 18 months. So it's like you're still healing from it. But you're just going on about your day, and it's like, it's amazing to me. And then your body bounces back after like 6-7 months, and it's like it just is almost like it is a miracle, really.
And as mums, we go through so much. So, for instance, I was telling my husband, "Oh my God, I've put on so much weight since giving birth." You've noticed so many different changes, and I think it's you just have to not get put down. Just go with the flow, I say.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like before Eunice was here, when we were preparing his like cupboard and where his clothes were gonna go, I was so particular. I was like, I want this, and everything needs to be perfect. As soon as he came, all your focus is on this baby. Like, you don't care about anything else. Like, I don't care where his things are. Like, as long as he's happy, as long as he's relaxed and has all his needs met, like, that literally, it'll just make my day. If he's a happy baby, I'm like, that's a job well done. It's like, tick for today. So yeah, definitely. Like, mothers do so much. My eyes are open.
Definitely, yeah. I feel the same way.
And I think, like, we've got one child, like, inshallah, when we have more, like, mothers with like multiples, like, I don't know how they do it. I guess we'll find out, inshallah, one day.
Yeah, we will, inshallah. Was there any tips you'd give for first time mum?
Yeah, so just cherish each moment, even though it's hard, and always ask for help. Whether that's from family, whether that's friends, whether that's help visitors, lactation consultants, just even when you're at the hospital, just make the most of any help that you get, because if you're more relaxed, the baby's just going to be more happy as well, because they can feel your energy as well. And if something doesn't work out the way that you planned, just embrace it, because it wasn't meant to be. So, and also all the advice, you can tailor it to yourself. So if they say that a baby should be sleeping 3 hours and feeding every 3 hours, but your baby's feeding every hour, it's okay. Like, that's what they need for themselves. I feel like sometimes they have this thought of, a baby should be sleeping, a newborn should be sleeping like 18 to 20 hours a day, and then maybe your newborn is a bit more active, and then you're like, okay, am I doing something wrong? Like, why is my newborn not sleeping? But yeah, just kind of go with the flow of things. Ask for lots of help, and if classes are your thing, I would recommend taking the aftercare classes, just because it gives you a bit more confidence. But yeah, how about you? Like, did you do stuff that really, really helped you, postpartum or delivery?
For tips, I would mainly say, just go with the flow. Don't be hard on yourself. When I was quite ill, the advice I got given was be kind to yourself, be kind to each other, meaning yourself and your husband, and just be kind to others. It's a new experience you're going through, and nobody said it's going to be easy, and it's a new responsibility as well. So do your research, take it easy, and don't be too hard on yourself. That's the main thing that I'd say, because I think when it comes to being a mum, it's a lot, mum and even a dad as well, it's a lot of responsibility. So take on that responsibility and accept help, whether that's from the services, whether that's from your family. Just ask for help, and don't be afraid.
Yeah, I completely agree about the help. Like, the help is like number one tip. Like, even if you can pre-arrange, someone coming over to stay with you for the first 6 weeks, whether that's family member or even like having prepared meals and froze them like in time, so you don't have to cook at that time. Like you might, because you never know what type of delivery you're going to have. My delivery almost reached to the point of a C-section, so I was just thinking, like, imagine it did, like, then you're in bed for a good few days, like you can't get out of bed. You just never know what type of delivery you're going to have, to just be fully prepared. So yeah.
I have to say, the one thing I'd want all mothers to know is be prepared for the first 6 weeks for the recovery. That's the 6 weeks that you need recovery. So in that time in particular, don't be too hard on yourself and accept all the help that you can.
Yeah. The first 6 weeks is the most challenging by far.
Definitely.
And it's like something happens after 6 weeks and the babies are so relaxed. It's just like, oh my goodness. Everyone was saying the first 6 weeks is difficult, and now I completely get it.
Like my dad said to me, they're gelling with you and you're gelling with them.
Yeah, they're getting to know you, you're getting to know them.
Yeah, so
that's true. How did being a new mom and then like a new dad for your partner, like how did that change your relationship?
So I feel like when you become a new parent, your two perspectives are highlighted a lot more, and then you just have to sort of adapt and compromise with your parenting styles. And I feel like for me, my husband is very attached to our son now, and I didn't realize that when you're going through this parenting journey and when you're going through motherhood and you're going on these classes, you don't realize how attached and how much responsibility the husband feels. So it's kind of opened my eyes about motherhood and also about fatherhood, how the husband feels and how they take on the responsibility, mashallah. He's doing a great job, mashallah.
Oh, that's very true. Yeah, that's very true. I feel like sorry, Debbie, just hold on, my mother and daughter.
This is what happens. This is motherhood.
Yeah, like I think he's been crying for a while, so I know he's gonna be hungry. He had a really good nap, and then I think he's just hungry now. So you might hear a bit of crying. So apologies for that.
No problem. This is motherhood. You can't plan. I have to say, you can't plan everything.
No, really, you can't. Everything is like very limited in time. I think if you get like 30 minutes to yourself, that's amazing. And I think that's what I had.
You've done quite well right now.
Yeah. Yes. As I was saying, like with the husbands, I feel like they are really ignored in this whole process. Even when I was at the hospital, they just used to ask me, how are you feeling? Like, do you want something to eat? Just a second. I'm just going to speak and I'll be right.
Yeah, we can hear Yunus. I think he has something to say.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that.
I think Yunus had something to say there, Rabia.
Yeah, I think he always does. He's very opinionated.
Bless him.
So when we were at the hospital, even my husband used to just joke around, and he used to be like, "Oh, I feel like I'm invisible," because everyone used to come, and then everyone used to ask me how I'm feeling, but like no one asked him, or like no one asked him for food or anything.
That's very, very true.
Yeah. So then afterwards, it's like you need to give that time to your husband as well, and also for the first month, because you're in this whole bubble with your new little baby. I definitely felt like I didn't give him that much time at all. And then later on, I felt really bad. I was like, oh no, like I've just been so focused on baby that I forgot to like, ask him how he's doing or like how he's feeling. And then when you have a bit of a routine, then you kind of snap after it. But I would say for like first time moms, just to remember that you have things there as well. So yeah, like that was one thing that I never expected that happened. Like I was just so focused on baby that I felt like I kind of like just lost touch in that area. And then
Alhamdulillah, like with us, my husband was quite supportive because I became quite ill. He was quite supportive, and I don't think I forgot him. But I know that a lot of mums, when they become mums, they just focus on the baby, and then there's always people saying that, oh, you're going to be feeling left out to the husband.
Yeah. It can definitely happen. Like I didn't expect this at all, and I know like some of my friends kind of went through the same thing as well. But it's crazy because everything that you go through, you learn so much. And I'm saying this now, like inshallah, when we have future babies, like you've learned so much. So I'm sure there's going to be new challenges then that will say the same thing, like, oh, I've learned so much. I feel like motherhood is just a learning curve. Like you go into it blindsided, and it's just such a beautiful journey that you just grow. You just basically grow with your little one, and you just make the most out of every day. Everyone says that when they turn like 6 months and onwards, it's more on the fun side because like a lot of their colic kind of subsides and reflux subsides. So I'm quite excited for that time. But also at the same time, I don't want him to grow up that fast. So it's like a double-edged sword.
I think everyone asks me what's the most challenging time. Obviously, I can't speak for everyone because mine is only 9 months. But for me, it had to be the time where the first 6 weeks. I think so far the most challenging time for me was the first 6 weeks for sure. I think it's just like the first steps into motherhood where you're sleep deprived, you're having a baby that needs you all the time. So definitely that was the most challenging for me. Is there a time that was the most challenging for you so far, or is it all smooth sailing?
The time that was the most challenging is when I stayed at the hospital on my own with them for the first time. So when we came back after labor and delivery, I always had my mom's house and my mother-in-law's and my husband's house with me. So from changing diapers to giving him a bath to like soothing him. And then when we had to take him to A&E, then they said he has to be admitted. And not just admitted, but he's got blood being taken out of him, then medicine being given to him. And when you see a little baby in so much pain, you're already like so upset about it. But then at the same time, you're like, okay, this is the first time I'm going to be alone with him. And it's the first time you see if you can do it on your own. So that was really, really tough for me. But at the same time, it gave me the confidence of, oh, actually, I can take care of him. So even when I have no one, as in to do the small stuff with him. So that was definitely challenging emotionally as well, because I think I was only 2 weeks postpartum, so I was healing myself, and like my hormones were just everywhere, and I was just getting the hang of things. And then when your little one's not well, like you kind of take a dip into the emotions there. So that was definitely the hardest, hands down the hardest thing so far. But,
Sorry. But I think with these challenges, I think I'd have to say there is light at the end of the tunnel for for everyone. So, Alhamdulillah, you can do it. Don't be put off by anything we've said today.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because if you told me before that I could survive on like 3 hours of sleep and just be a functioning human being the next day, I would be like, there's no way. But when it's for your little baby, like you literally, you don't mind. Like you would just do anything for them, and it's okay. Like the sleepless nights or the diapers or like getting weed on, especially if you have a boy. It you just don't mind it, and I feel like you'll remember these memories as fun memories. Because when I tell my parents this, they're like, "Oh yes, like we went through it when you were little, and when your brothers were little, we went through this, and this, and then you have that time like to bond over this new step that you've taken in life as well." So no matter how motherhood is, like when I had him, I remember thinking, I get why people have lots of kids. Like I get it. Like before, I used to be like, when people have lots of kids, it's such a challenge. Like it must be so hard. Um, but now it's like, oh, I get it. It's just the reward outweighs the struggle by 100-fold. So yeah, alhamdulillah. And I feel really like, especially like in Islam as well, like your kids could be your success area, and they can be your gate to heaven if inshallah. So I feel like in that time it's even more special. Um, so yeah, and just taking care of them is such a blessing as well. Like I feel like if you think of all of these constantly, how much reward you're getting just by holding your baby, making them smile, feeding them, taking care of them, you soon realize that it's all the struggles are very, very small in comparison to the big rewards that you're getting. Um, so yeah, I definitely feel like motherhood is definitely challenging, but in the best way possible, if that makes sense.
Definitely, definitely. I'd say that when you're becoming a mother, you make a big sacrifice. You want the best for your child, and you will do anything and everything you can for your child.
Yeah, 110%, 110%. Um, like you just want the world for them. Um, like already I'm thinking, I can't wait to take him swimming. I can't wait to take him to all these places, travel with him, just show him a life that's useful and where he can feel happy.
And at the moment, you are the world for your child, right?
Oh my goodness, yes. That's such a beautiful way to put it. But yeah, yeah. And it's just a special feeling to be someone that you can give so much comfort to your baby. Like your baby finds so much comfort in you. I find that so special. Like I would not like leave that the world. Um, so especially like when crying or and then you're the only one who can see them. It's so special because it's like the baby recognizes you. I remember when he was first born, and you know how babies cry when they're first born, and as soon as they put him on my chest, he stopped crying immediately because he recognized my voice when I was talking to him. And I've heard this in my movies, and I've seen it, and you know, I've heard about it quite a bit. But when you experience it yourself, it's like unbelievable. So yeah, yeah, it's a really beautiful journey.
Alhamdulillah. Sorry, Rabia, I have a bit of a cough over here.
So,
So, is there any last thoughts you'd say about motherhood for those who are first-time mums?
I would say it's the most beautiful journey, and I think they say that the days are long, so the years are short. Meaning that some days we feel like challenge,
Jazakallah khair so much, Rabia. We're running out of time now.
Okay.
But Jazakallah khair for coming on air. And
thank you so much for having me.
Jazakallah.